Right, okay, so welcome to my second video in by explaining Star Wars. Star Wars Explained. Explaining Star Wars? Star Wars Explained. One of the two. Anyway, so something that I constantly, argue with my friends and my family about is, this idea of the chosen one. And when I say that, I mean, who is the chosen one? Because a lot of people seem to think that Luke is the chosen one. Obviously, on the face value, Anakin is the chosen one. For most of it, Anakin is the chosen one. He's referred to as that. And, it's fair enough, really. But to explain why Anakin is the chosen one, we really need to sort of go into why why Anakin is thought of as the chosen one, and what being the chosen one is, sort of what it entails. So I thought I would explain it. Why is the chosen one? What you've probably misunderstood, or what I've probably taken away from it. And yeah, let's start with that. So, one of the issues that people have with the chosen one is that they don't understand what the actual prophecy is. So the prophecy itself is not what people think. Sorry, I'm trying to get it up for you here. I do know what it is, but I'm just going to get it up. So the chosen one obviously refers to the person, as Mace Windu or Yoda or any of the Jedi in the prequels would have said, to the one who will return and bring balance to the Force. And the reason no one seems to think that Anakin is the chosen one is because he ultimately betrays the Jedi, joins the Sith, helps them hunt down all of the Jedi, and then sort of redeems himself. But it's ultimately Luke that helps him redeem himself. So for that reason, people seem to think that Luke's the chosen one. But the interesting thing about the prophecy is, at no point does it ever say that Anakin will destroy the Sith. It never says that he will destroy the Sith. The chosen one prophecy is, a chosen one shall come, born of no father, and through him will ultimate balance in the Force be restored. So this idea that Luke can be the chosen one is sort of very dependent on the Jedi winning. And that's what people get confused when they talk about the chosen one, is that they think that the Jedi need to win in order for them to be balanced. But as I've said in the last video, the Force itself isn't as easy as the Sith and the Jedi. It's, if people who watch the extended lore or read the extended lore sort of things know that the Force isn't as simple as the Sith and the Jedi being the only two sort of ways that you can manifest the Force. What it's more like, it's almost like a seesaw. So you've got the Sith at one end, the Jedi at the other end, and then maybe about that much either side, but then the whole middle of it is grey, or what you would call the grey. And what that means is both sort of sides are two ends of an extreme that all have misinterpreted what the chosen one is. So the Jedi, ultimately, their main hubris is believing that the balance that comes from the prophecy is the destruction of the Sith. It's not. It's balance of that seesaw where the Force is balanced both in the dark and the light, and everything is balanced. So when we look at Anakin, the reason Anakin is the chosen one, because he ultimately actually brings balance to the Force twice. And again, this isn't confirmed, it's not, fact, it's not law, it's just my sort of takeaway from it. So in the prequels, what we see the slightly different change that we saw in the originals, which is that instead of the Sith being the dominant one, which they are in the originals, the Jedi are the dominant ones. The Sith are hiding away, they're scheming, they're plotting, they're trying to cause a downfall. And what ultimately happens is, this obviously Anakin turns to the dark side, and he destroys pretty much the whole Jedi Order. Some of the most powerful Jedi that lived during that time are killed. Anakin kills them. And there's this great culling of Jedi, sorry, the term is Jedi. And, on face value of it, it would seem like Anakin hasn't brought balance. He's leaned it in the favour of the Sith. But actually, when you think about it, you look at the two Sith that there is. There's Vader and there's Palpatine, who are probably the two most powerful Sith, if especially recently, if not ever. So that Sith balance has gone up. But because not all of the Jedi are wiped out, you've still got Yoda and you've got Obi-Wan, and there are other Jedi who survive. There is almost a kind of balance there. Obviously, later down the line, most of the Jedi get killed at the hands of Anakin, who goes on and he hunts them all, as does his Inquisitors. But so when that unbalance comes, that's when Luke ultimately comes up, and when Yoda dies as well, that balance is lost. But in Empire, we see, Luke experiences the thing that ultimately changes his life forever, and it's not him being able to wield the Force, it's the fact that he has to come to terms with the fact that Vader is his dad. And you might be saying, what does all this have to do with the Chosen One, etc., etc.? I know I am coming to it. But then in Revenge of the Sith, the clever thing that Revenge of the Sith, Return of the Jedi does, is it gives us the parallel between Luke and Anakin. Ultimately, Anakin doesn't have the power to resist the dark side. He's given the easy route and he takes it. Luke, in Return of the Jedi, when he's angered by Vader, he's given that opportunity to take the easy route, and he doesn't. And that ultimately is what separates Luke from Anakin. And that in itself makes Luke probably one of the more powerful Jedi that's ever lived. But it doesn't make him the Chosen One. But again, because he experiences the dark and the light, we have that balance in him. He essentially uses both aspects from the light and the dark. So when Vader ultimately sacrifices himself to kill Palpatine and then ultimately dies himself, and Luke is left, we have that balance in Luke. So Luke is our balance. So in that sense, I suppose you could call him the Chosen One, because he is the balance. But because it's Anakin that brings that balance again, it's the second time that he brings it. In the extended lore, before the sequels, what happens is Luke doesn't go down the path of establishing a new Jedi Order that follows the old Jedi ways, because that isn't balance. If he'd done that, then the balance would have gone out of skew again, and that ultimate balance that comes from the prophecy wouldn't have been achieved. What he does is he goes down a more grey route, like a grey Jedi route, which is essentially him going, okay, so the Jedi have some traits that are admirable, their focus and not allowing their emotions to overpower them. That's good. But it's also not all that great to deny your emotions, because although the Sith dominate their emotions and use their emotions to essentially give themselves more power, there's nothing evil about using the fear of death to fight harder. There's nothing wrong with that. So he goes down the route of a grey Jedi, and his new Jedi Order in the extended lore is essentially a grey Jedi Order. And years and years and years afterwards, because by calling themselves grey Jedi, they're still linked with the Jedi Order of old, they choose instead not to call themselves Jedi and to call themselves Skywalkers. So it becomes the Skywalker Order as opposed to the Jedi Order. So yeah, that's why Anakin is Anakin is the Chosen One. It's not Luke. And again, this isn't me saying for fact, all that. This is what I've always taken away from it. Anakin ultimately brings balance twice. With the destruction of the Jedi, although it's a horrible thing, because most moviegoers will, they enjoy the Jedi because they're these paragons of good in the galaxy and all that, but they are, when you look at their sort of their ways and their methods and their creeds, they are flawed. Of course they're flawed. They're not this paragon of good as you would expect them to be. And it makes sense when you think about it as a sort of as that balancing act with Sith and Jedi. When Anakin culls all of the Jedi and they all die during Order 66, that balance that seesaw is tipped towards balance to the point where once most of the Jedi have been killed, there is balance. So it does bring balance the first time, but because the Chosen One has to bring eternal balance, forget about the sequels, Anakin hunting down all the Jedi that survived ultimately tips the balance in the favour of the Sith, because they are two of the most powerful Sith that ever lived. And then when Yoda dies, who's our only other real Jedi that's left alive, that balance is completely, it's completely off. So when Anakin dies, taking Palpatine with him, and Luke, who has used the dark and has used the light, we have the balance that Anakin is supposed to bring with the prophecy. And the area of confusion that there is with all the people who think they know all this is that it is literally what Yoda says, which is the prophecy has been misread. It is misread because at no point in the prophecy does it ever say that Anakin will destroy the Sith. Because that's not what balance is. Balance isn't one of the two sides of the seesaw being gone. That's not what the balance is. So yeah, hopefully this is quite a short one. 11 minutes, yeah. That's why Anakin is the Chosen One and Luke isn't. Tell me down in the comments if you ever thought Luke was. Did this video help you? What did you take away? Do you think Anakin is the Chosen One? Do you think Luke's the Chosen One? What's your reasoning behind Luke being the Chosen One? Because I would like to know. Yeah. Also, let me know some things that you might want me to talk about. Here, do you want me to get someone on? Do you want me to get a guest on? I might get my friend Anthony on, who knows more about Star Wars than I ever will. Do you want me to get my dad on? He probably knows more about Star Wars than I ever will. Yeah, let me know down in the comments. Thank you for watching. I need to know.